What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. We are playing the first A tier of the year. We're out here in the Quad Cities playing the Rumble MA1. There's about 30 people signed up. If you can't tell, it's super windy. Here's all sorts of messed up. And one of the biggest goals for this year is to get an A tier MA1 wind. Like I said, it's windy. These courses definitely don't fit my game the greatest, but it's going to be a great challenge, and I'm excited to attack these courses. We tee off in about 15 minutes. Let's get after it. All right, we're on hole 10 now. I only got 2 birdies. It feels like I'm allergic to birdies, at least today. A lot of pars, getting a little lucky here and there, but we're still getting after it as much as we can. Super hilly, beautiful day out here though. I've seen a bunch of really pretty birds and stuff like that, but yeah, we need more birdies if we want to compete for this win, so let's get after it. Just took a 6. What a hole. All right, guys, round 1 is over with. I'll pop up my scorecard here. We'll kind of go through like hole by hole here. Yeah, we're not doing that. On to round 2. All right, guys. So yeah, round 1 was absolutely insane. We're not going to talk about it too much. All I'm going to say is we were 50% from C1, made 0 C2 putts, and shot 909. Not a happy camper, especially with the goals I had in place kind of going into this tournament, trying to get my first A tier win and, you know, at least competing for the win. So another really big thing to note is after round 1, I was sitting in 4th to last, tied for 23rd overall. Going into round 2, I was definitely feeling a little bit better kind of about my game, mental state, kind of everything going into the round. I definitely did a lot more things right going into this round than I did the previous round. I felt hydrated, definitely had a lot more food in me, and just everything overall just felt a lot better going into the second round. We started on hole 13, which I think was playing as the hardest hole on the course. I believe it was playing +2 over par, so anything below a 5 is absolutely insane. And we actually end up taking a par, which it's a par 3, like 560, and somehow we end up taking a par. So very, very, very fortunate about that. And I got a whole bunch of videos of my buddy Dylan, who was actually carded with during this round. So big shout out to Dylan. And then we get to hole 14, and I kind of throw my tee shot up the hill, and I actually end up leaving my rangefinder on the course, pitch up with the Benny, make probably a 30-footer to save the birdie on a relatively easy hole. And I leave my rangefinder on that hole, the second hole of the day, and I complete the rest of the round without my rangefinder, which was definitely in the back of my head for the next couple of holes at least. The next hole definitely needed it. It was a par 5, really hard to kind of gauge distances, so end up taking a par after missing a C1 putt with an insane scramble shot to at least have a putt at it. Then we go hole 16, a hole that I thought I was going to lay up, but actually end up going for it and have myself a 30-footer. End up missing it, which is fine. And then we get hole 17, take a really bad bogey on 18, had a really great drive, punched through the gap, really should have just jump putted out of the gap to get around the corner on hole 18, but we end up just trying to get a little too aggressive, hit the tree, then we go into the rough on the left, end up taking a bogey, then we go par, and then the next hole is kind of what rattled me a little bit, I guess we can say, at least about this round, is we take a double, and just a couple really unfortunate shots and really not knowing the course that well. I throw a forehand that I hit the grass, tall grass that's in front of me. I was kind of off to the rough on the left, and it goes 2 feet in front of me. The next shot out, I put it into the thick stuff on the right-hand side, and yeah, we end up taking a relatively good double bogey from where we were at and how many bad shots we threw in that hole. And then we do get birdie par, so we kind of actually get things rolling here. Walk all the way back up the hill to hole 1. We get a birdie on hole 1. We have a really bad chain out on hole 2 from like 45 feet, hit a bunch of chains on the right, and it just flops out. We go birdie, birdie, and then hole 5 happened. So I'm going to leave this in here because why not? But I have a relatively decent drive, put it off to the left side, kind of into the woods. So I throw my approach shot. I have a flick forehand. I know I want to leave it out to the left because OB's on the right side, and I just do not commit to it enough, and it leaks OB, or what I thought was OB, on the right-hand side on the rocks. There's a lot of misplayed holes out there throughout the entire weekend, and which kind of just leaves me a little iffy on the whole tournament itself. But we're not going to really go too far into that. We end up taking a bogey. We had like a tap in for bogey while taking the out of bounds stroke. But I guess in the caddy book, it stated, even though there was a white line, it stated that it was inbounds on the rocks, but there was a white line painted on the course. So really weird. All of my card mates took the OB and took it off of the line, not off the rocks. Really, really interesting how that kind of panned out, because I basically had a really bad chain out and a tap in par on hole 5. If I knew the rules, didn't know the rules, if the rules were presented to us better, if we had a players meeting, who knows? We end up shooting a neg 5, 10-13 rated round, and after talking with my buddies, like personally for me, it definitely didn't feel like a 10-13 rated round, but kind of after analyzing it all and realizing, I got 9 birdies, and I took a 3 on hole 13, which was where it was averaging 5, so I got 2 strokes there. Really another one of those rounds where, I did play very well. I got birdies. I was 11 for 12 from C1. I made a C2 putt. Like everything was going good, but I still made probably 7 or 8 like bad mental mistakes that just are haunting me, and that's just that analytical mind of mine that really wants to like try to deplete the entire round, and that kind of leaked into round 3. And we actually end up moving 18 spots up the leaderboard, tied for 5th, going into the second round and being on chase card. That definitely helped a lot after the crazy round I did have in round 2. And at the end of the round 2, going into round 3, I was 7 strokes back of my buddy Brock, who also shot 5 down. So throw up his scorecard here. Absolutely insane round as well. And then round 3 happened, and another one of those things where going into it, I was definitely nervous. I mean, I've previously shot +9 over par at this course, and it's a very wooded and a course that you would definitely like to play at least a practice round, or at least know the course a little bit better than I did before going into it, because I've played a total of 2 rounds ever at this course going into this tournament. So definitely kind of didn't know like where I can get aggressive and stuff like that, but it's really not an excuse when throughout this round, I'll just throw up my entire scorecard up here. And we started on hole 2, and we have a circle 2 putt, which is fine. But when you see my stats down there at the bottom, 6 of 12 from C1, and I was putting for birdie on 13 out of the 18 holes. And yeah, if you look at my scorecard, you really only see 1 birdie, and it's on hole 3, and I made a putt from like 60 feet away. So yeah, it was definitely a round. We end up shooting a 932 rated round 3, and man, did it feel every bit of like an 880 rated round. I mean, yeah, you have to make putts. I had a lot of uphill putts, and another one of those rounds where I really just let my mental state take over. And that was really the big lesson of this tournament, is to stay in it and to, be able to battle the mental state that you're dealing with, even if you have bad breaks. And if your game's not feeling the best overall, you can't just give up. And I kind of had that mentality of like, I just don't care. And I didn't want to be on the course anymore, after like halfway through these rounds, I was just like, so this is how it's going to be. And I didn't have that drive to like want to get better throughout the round, or like finish strong, as that's where I've seen some of my success, is like the last 9 holes. We end up shooting, like I said, +3, 932 rated round, and we end up finishing in 9th place overall, a 951 rated event that like I said, really felt like I played like 920 golf all weekend long if you combine all three of the rounds together. So lots to take away from. Didn't get a lot of videos of this tournament. Didn't have a caddy, but I do believe we're gonna have a caddy for all of the other A tiers. So maybe that's something that I need, is kind of that mental cue and that mental side, to have someone in my corner that I can go talk to, as I did in round 2 with my buddy Dylan being on the card, and just talk through things and like have a good time mentally, and not try and overanalyze and see where I'm at on the leaderboard, and like, all right, I need to make this putt, or put all of that unnecessary like pressure that I put onto myself. So a lot of big lessons were definitely learned at the Rumble this year, and I was happy to go back down there and have a good time with my buddies. I was staying at my buddy Xander's house. We had steak night, had Whitey's and ice cream shop, and it was a great overall weekend, fun weekend with the boys. But definitely missed the mark on kind of the whole goal part of kind of why I went down there. Like, obviously I went down there to have a good time with the boys, but really the main reason why I went down there was to win my first A tier. So definitely very disappointed in myself, but like I said, it was a fun weekend overall still. And that's gonna do it for the video, guys. If you guys are new here, hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new. We're gonna be doing a whole bunch of these A tier vlogs with a lot more content and actually disc flying, rather than just listen to me ramble about my bad rounds. So, and you guys will actually be able to make fun of me if I miss the 15 footers that I did this weekend. So let me know what you guys think of kind of the rambling videos in the comment section down below. Big shout out to Xander's family for letting me hang out with them, and all my buddies that were sending out texts and stuff like that throughout the round. And yeah, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Like, subscribe, do absolutely all of the YouTube things. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I believe we're right around the 300 mark right now. So we got about 6 months to go. So like, subscribe, do all of the YouTube things. And as always, be nice to yourself.